Here's Greg.
Hello. So this is being recorded.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay. So hi, welcome to Retro. Welcome to Retro. I can't even say the word, man. Retropical. Retropical.
Retropical.
Okay.
Yes.
Welcome to the Retropical podcast. Today is the first episode. We're just testing things out. This is like a pilot episode, and now before we start, I guess I want to ask, how are you doing, Leonard? Oh yeah, I'm Shannon, and this is Leonard.
Right. Introduction. That's important.
And yes, how are you doing? From a rating of 1 to 10, how do you feel right now?
I'm doing like a 7 or 8, pretty much.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm a 6 or 7, so we're off the same wavelength, so that's
Yeah.
good. Today we will start to discuss like back and forth, I guess, right? So I think the initial 30 minutes will be me, and then the last 30 minutes will be you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And I guess the thing that I want to talk about today would be quite a famous topic, actually. Oh, and also do help me keep tabs. If I've already reached around like 25 minutes, let me know so I can uh keep count of my time.
Yep. We'll do.
Yep. Okay. So today I want to talk about Switch. I want to talk about particularly Animal Crossing because that's
Oh.
been on my that's been on my mind for
Okay.
the past month or so. Um, as you know, I don't have a Switch, and I never really wanted to buy one since like a few years ago when it came out. But ever since the release of Animal Crossing, it made my urge of buying one from like -5% to like around 98%, because I really want to play Animal Crossing, and I see people playing it all around. So it's like I want to be part of the fad.
Okay.
So yeah, my question for you, I guess, is like, I know that you don't have a Switch as well, right? Because I think we talked
Yeah, I
about
don't
it.
have it, but I am like heavily considering it just for like pretty
Exactly.
much for the same reason.
So, oh, okay. So yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, are you considering buying it? Like, are you considering to buy it? And if so, is it only for Animal Crossing, or do you have any other like games in mind which made you the reason why you wanted to buy the Switch?
So, Animal Crossing. Actually, the thing is, I've always wanted to Switch even before Animal Crossing, mostly because of like the story seasons, which again I'll talk about later as well. In
Okay.
my section of the podcast. But
Okay.
the moment when the thing is that I played the only few Animal Crossings I played was the one for the DS. I'm
Right.
not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Wild World, right? That was the game that you played, right?
yeah. That was like my first exposure, I suppose, to Animal Crossing. At first, I didn't like understand at all like the charm of
Yeah.
it,
Exactly. Yep.
and
Yep.
then yeah, and then it was like, and then after I played it for like an hour, and then 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, it became like this basically like mindless, almost like this mindless game where you're just completely brain dead and you're just follow like doing things just for the sake of it, like catching bugs
Right.
or like selling shit. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's the thing about Animal Crossing, though. Like, okay, for those of you who are maybe listening and don't know what Animal Crossing is, maybe you live under a rock, or like, I don't know, you just don't know what Animal Crossing is and you want to know. It's basically just, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've played Harvest Moon before, but it's kind of something to do with just everyday life, living your best life in an island, and having like villagers who are animals, and you have like many tasks from them, and that's what you do. And you collect bugs, you fish, and then you also try to upgrade your house, and then you meet the villagers as well as the entities in that island of yours. And yeah, you're right. That was actually my first time playing Animal Crossing. It was also on the DS, the fat DS. You know, the very
Yeah, yeah,
first
yeah.
one, the
The
silver
very
one. Yeah, not DS Lite, but the fat DS.
the
I still
fat
have it with
yes.
me.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I still
god.
have it with me, but like it's really like freaking ancient, right? But I remember
Mm-hmm.
when I was a kid, I think I was like around 8 years old or 9. I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't know the concept of the game at all. Like there was no plot, right? That's the thing
Yeah,
about
there
the one.
wasn't any story. Like the only story was that you had to work for the who is it? Nook, I think is his
Nook,
name.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I think
raccoon,
it's Nook.
right? Yeah, and like I mean, you had debts to pay because of your house, and you pay him in installments, and he keeps asking you whether like you've paid it for him or not. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, there's no like driving plot line where you have to follow it. All I remember was just like the gossip running around town that was like kind of fickle. Because like you talk to one of the villagers, and they're like, "Did you know that X has something in his closet?" Oh my! And then it's like when you go back talking to X, it is as if it doesn't happen.
Ah, yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then like the thing is for me, I think uh I didn't actually play what was it? There was another one called City Folk, I think. Basically it was the one on Wii or the one on some sort of Nintendo device as
I
well.
think
There
it's
was
on the
another
Wii
one.
or the Wii U. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there was another one, right? And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get to that. I had a Wii, but I didn't actually play Animal Crossing on Wii because I think like around that time I wasn't into I don't know why, but I didn't get Animal Crossing.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, I only got the one in DS, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then ever since people said that like it was coming out on Switch, I thought it was going to be like the same as the one in DS. So I thought, okay, it's gonna be like just the usual stuff that I've dealt with. To
Mm-hmm.
my, I guess like looking at my friends who are playing it, and then like looking at my feeds, of like people playing it and screenshotting it on IG, like it made me feel a bit like left out. Like I felt like I wanted to play it as well because I guess there's that I don't know. For me, I think there's that thrill of like having your own island and like building your own shit. But I think the thing that made me really want to get it was because of the fact that you were able to actually seamlessly play with your friends.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because okay, my question is, you played the DS. Were you able to actually connect with anyone when you were playing it back when you were a kid?
No, pretty much like it's a solo experience for the most part when I played it.
Exactly. But then
Mm-hmm.
I remember you were able to actually have the options of actually going to someone else's town or someone going to your town. Or it's not an island, it's a town, by the way. But like, I remember you were able to actually connect to other people, but I didn't know how. So I was just like alone in my own town, being
Uh-huh.
sad, and like I wanted to make friends, but I didn't know how to, kan.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, ever since the Switch, it was like when I see people like hanging out and just enjoying their time together alone, and especially with the quarantine going on, like it made me feel like, what the heck? Like I want to do this because I wanted to do this when I was a kid too. Dude,
Okay.
I had such a like as much as I enjoyed Animal Crossing, I had such a lonely experience.
Oh, yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had
Definitely.
such a
'Cause
lonely experience
actually, the funny
playing.
thing is that, like, on the DS version, right? So in the DS version of the like the Animal Crossing,
Right? Yeah.
I because I thought it's like some kind of weird version. Because like back then, just like you, I didn't really understand like the charm of it, and like even when I did understand like the charm of the game itself, I was thinking to myself, I was like, this game is kind of like a 3D version of like Harvest Moon or something like that,
Right.
yeah, that's
Exactly.
what I thought. It's like, oh, so it's like imagine Harvest Moon but without like the farming aspect of it. It's just like something that you meet other people, you do whatever you want.
Right.
There's not really a underlying plot, behind that. It's like
Right.
you just do
Okay,
whatever
but
you want, essentially.
But but to be fair, Harvest Moon actually did have a plot in a way, because like when you try to talk to the villagers around, you kind of understand like some of the lores happening around Harvest Moon. Like there's actually
Mm-hmm.
plot or there's actually depth behind the characters that you interact with, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think with Animal Crossing, it's like not so much. There's not much depth to the characters, as in like you have some of their quirks. I know most of the time like there are the ones that like want to work out and stuff like that. And there's like the fashionista diva kind of villager.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah,
I,
the
yeah,
archetypes, yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
right. But there's nothing out of like beyond that. I don't know how to explain, but like there's not much complexity when it comes to the dynamics of the town that you were playing in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why you're right. Like I always think of it as like it's in the same trope as Harvest Moon, even though it kind of isn't. If you think about it, like it's not
Yeah, no,
actually
no, because
based
like it
around.
definitely is. Like, so for example, with like an Animal Crossing, like there's so many things you can do. You can dig up. for like treasures. You could
Right.
catch bugs. You can fish, which is like to some degree is like something that's available in other games as well. But it's just something about like I said, like I mentioned, the fact that like the Animal Crossing is like there's some kind of like that almost brain dead aspect of the game. Like I don't mean it in a bad way or anything. It's just like
Yeah, yeah.
you could play the game and not be under pressure and just enjoy whatever it is that you're doing. It's like,
Right.
oh, you want to collect all the fishes, go ahead. You want to collect all the bugs, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess that's what made it very like mindlessly fun when I was playing it when I was a kid. Like I remember playing on it for hours, not even knowing what I was doing, just fishing a lot, talking to the villagers, thinking up of like stories of the villagers, gossiping around, and then like just exploring the town, the mails, the museum. I want to get back to that too.
Mm,
But like I don't know. I think for me now, one of the reason why I'm not actually that so driven to buy is actually that concept because it was so mindless. I'm afraid that like now, knowing that I'm a bit more grown up and stuff, it might get a bit boring to me. Like I will
mm-hmm.
just play it for maybe constantly for a week and then I'll stop and then I feel like would it be a waste of me just buying a Switch just for 1 week of
Like just
mindless fun?
I see, I see.
Yeah, yeah, but then again, it goes back to the fact that like if I play and you play, you're able to actually visit me and we can actually play together for once.
Yeah, you
That's
can
kind
hang
of the
out and
thing.
shit like that. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's kind of the reason why like I'm interested in buying the Switch just for Animal Crossing because of that. Is the fact that like I don't have to be a lonely ass kid anymore playing by myself. No, legit though, because I remember I was so sad. Like the only thing that got me excited was that I don't know if you remember, but in the old DS Animal Crossing, when you go by the beach, there would sometimes be like those message in a bottle.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
when you capture it and you read it, it's like from someone's else. It's like someone else's message from another town.
Oh man.
To this day, that was the only thing that made me like, oh my god, I actually have friends, but I don't know how to reach to them. And then
No,
then I
the,
started thinking, is it actually a computer? It's actually not a real person.
that's what I thought as well. I thought it was something that's just like randomly generated as well, because like also it's like something they wrote down. It's like oh.
Exactly, but I don't know. I mean, to this day, like I don't remember like enjoying my time, fully enjoying, I
I
guess,
see.
because like I'm lonely. That's basically it. Like I was very lonely in the game. That's why I guess like the whole idea with Switch was that okay, I get to actually hang out with friends and it was seamless. Because I remember do you remember the area like when you want to leave town, there are the two guards, the two dog
The
guards.
the guards.
Do you remember?
Can't I don't think so. I have to like
You don't
because
remember?
my main memory it was just lit because like so for you mentioned as well the fact that like with your experiences with the DS version of Animal Crossing, what you remember the most was probably like just doing the task, right? Like just the random things that you can do inside the game. The thing is that
Right.
the one when you
Yes.
mentioned the fact that like the characters don't really have much like depth behind them, that was one thing that probably my
Mm-hmm.
only problem with Animal Crossing, because I can barely remember any of the characters unless they annoyed me, like Nook and also the
Oh,
mole. I forgot his
yeah,
name.
yeah,
The
yeah,
the
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the Italian.
Risetti. He scared my ass.
Yeah,
I was so
Lucetti,
scared
yeah,
of him when I was a kid. Risetti, right? Like because you don't save the game properly when you come back and you don't
yeah.
like save that episode of you playing. He comes in and he's like, you have to save or you. Was there a point where you had to pay him? I remember paying something to him, but then he still wouldn't let me off.
Yeah.
A
And
hundred bells or something. I
the thing is that when
remember.
I first started playing the game, I think what again? He came to me so often because I keep forgetting, right? Like I forget saving of them, like
Right.
or resetting the world. Like I remember resetting it so often to the point where like I think he actually started like do it once again and I will delete like the world or something.
Oh my god! But
I don't
so,
think
but
it
it
has,
wasn't
and even if
deleted
it did,
or
I
what?
don't think I would notice because I was too young back then. Because I was like so young back
Oh,
then, I
okay. That
didn't
I
care.
I don't think I don't I don't think I've had that threat before, but to this day I still remember the sound that he makes. You know, the
Yeah.
music behind his screaming. It yeah the
Yeah.
I remember that, and I
He's
was like,
coming.
every time it comes, I'm like, oh shit, he's coming, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think okay. I guess for me, I guess since we're also conscious of the time, I'll just give a take, me and you, like what was our most memorable time playing Animal Crossing during the DS version, because I think the
Yeah, yeah,
Switch
yeah.
we really have no say in it
Uh-huh.
since we've never tried it before. Maybe hopefully in the future. But yeah, what was one of your most memorable experience in Animal
Uh,
Crossing?
if I had to specifically like mention which one it is, oh, I think it would be KK or something, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, the
Yeah, it
dog
probably
who
has to be
who
him. Like it has
who
to be KK.
plays
Like
music.
it was such a weird thing to see a dog with a guitar. I was like when I first saw that thing, I was like,
Really?
it's probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of people who played the game thought that like KK is like the most cute or charming thing they've ever seen in a long time. For me, it was like a combination of
Right.
creepy and like almost uncanny valley
Endearing.
ish thing.
Because he was pretty smooth, right? As like he's like that. I don't know what it's called, but it's like those musician travelers who would go to towns and then like performing. And then there's a particular day where you can
Yeah,
actually
yeah, yeah, yeah,
catch him
exactly. I didn't
live.
even know he had a schedule either. I just went in like randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the schedule part, I remember just like waiting for him to appear, and then like when he's there, you cannot even talk to him, right? I think you can only like request songs. You can't actually have a conversation with him.
Oh,
So
okay.
I didn't really know much of his background. Yeah, but KK
Probably the most
was
like
one
I
of your
said, like it was
memorable
so
times
weird. It was
in.
almost like it almost scared me, I think, when I was a kid when I saw him the first time. Because he looks so weird. Yeah, it scared me a little bit.
Really scary. Did we have any other like dog any other dog villagers? Because I think like, I mean, if it's just because he's a dog and he plays the
Yeah,
guitar,
there
I
were
mean there were
plenty,
other villagers who were
I think.
dogs too, right?
Only KK
But
in
it
particular.
didn't
I think it
scare
has
you.
something to do with
Only
his
this specific KK scared the shit out of
I
you.
think it has something to do with the fact that like he's just all white and all of his features are black instead of like the other ones where they have like weird colors on them. Yeah, because the other ones are like yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like
oh,
for
you mean
example, I
like
think there was one called
yeah.
I forgot what it's called. Is it Bones or something like that? I'm not sure if you know that one. I don't
I
know.
don't think I
Actually, I
remember
can't
this one then.
remember. I don't know. Because like there's a bunch of like weird different uh
Okay.
dog characters in like basically the entirety of Animal Crossing to begin with, right? So yeah. But I think
Right,
yeah, but
right,
I think
right.
other than
Yeah,
KK,
I mean like there's
I
species.
don't think there's like probably Resetti, right? Yeah, like I said, I don't remember much of the characters
Okay,
unless
yeah.
they're like it's either like weird to me or it's like it's either
Uh,
annoying, or scared the shit out of me. It's like those two are the only thing that I found for me to remember a character
well,
back then.
so I guess our mutual remember for me our mutual I would understand that like our mutual memories of like Animal Crossing would be
Yeah,
Resetti.
that guy
That one
was
I
like the
also
most
remember to
memorable
the
character I've
T
ever
to
seen
this
in my
day.
entire life. Albeit annoying, don't worry, but like still.
KK, right? Scary because I remember he was talking about his kids too, if I'm not wrong. But KK, to me, he was just a chill dude, and I thought he was like a pretty cool guy. But for me, my most memorable experience was actually
Mm-hmm.
within the same realm as yours, but it wasn't KK. It was the other guy in the room with
Which
KK,
one is
the
it?
one that you remember, the one
Oh,
that you would
is it
always go
the
to
is I
buy
think it's like a
coffee
pigeon or
from.
something, you know? It's a pigeon, right? Yeah. Oh, a rooster?
Yes, Brewster.
Oh, Brewster,
Brewster.
Brewster.
I,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Brewster. His
Mm-hmm.
name was Brewster because he brew your coffee. He was my I think he's actually my favorite character of all Animal Crossing. And I remember, okay, this is so
Oh wait,
weird,
this is the
but I
one
have
where
to
I
admit
mentioned
I
the
had a
fact
little
that like you
crush
had
on
like some
him
kind
when
of
I was a
weird
kid.
like avian avian
Yes,
favoritism.
no, 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 no. That's not true. That's not true. But yes, I found Brewster to be so interesting that I would actually just go to the bar, to the,
Hmm.
not the bar, what is it called, the cafe, right? The Roost, right? I would go there and just buy
Oh,
drinks from him just so
just
I
so
could
you could.
talk to him. Just so I
Oh
could
my
talk to
God, you
him
did
and
like
like
what's
initiate.
basically like the most millennial way to like hit on someone, you know?
No, but here's the thing. The thing that saddened me was that Brewster only had a specific dialogue that you can play with when you talk to him. It's always going to be the same thing repeatedly, and he's always going to ask you to force
Oh yeah,
drink
yeah, yeah,
your
that one. Because
coffee
like
in front of
he
him
won't
straight
ever let
up.
you
Like
like
he won't wait.
uh yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And what and what I wanted was that to spend more time with him. I wanted
Oh,
to
but
just sip
he
my
yeah
coffee
he forces you to
slowly,
chuck the entire
and so like
thing.
like exactly, because by the time that happened, he would just go off in his own sink and clean his own like glass and trinkets. That I'm left alone, just staring at him when I wanted to talk more. So like that was one of my most
Exactly, it's like
memorable
the
moment
most
with
millennial thing to do.
Brewster
Hey,
in Animal Crossing.
Brewster, when do you get off
Excuse
work?
me. Okay, but the
You know?
yeah, actually, yeah, I was expecting him to talk more. Maybe like when KK was there, I thought I was able to talk to him more, but he didn't get out. He was just always stuck in that one place in that 2 by 2 squares that he moves around in, and he just does that. And I'm always so disappointed and sad that I could never like experience
Oh
or
my
like
God,
learn more about him.
what
And you know what's the saddest part? I actually
Brewster?
heard that he's gone, like on Switch. Yeah, so in Animal Crossing, most of the old characters came back, except for Brewster. And my man, to be honest, other than Resetti's background, I remember the Roost music. You know, when you talk to him, there's like that na 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 na. Oh my God, I loved it. That's the reason why I
Ah,
always
okay.
go back to him because of that. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, something about Brewster just made me enjoy Animal Crossing to another level, and that was something I will never
The
forget.
the the little bird will serve you
But
coffee.
truth be told, yeah, yeah, exactly. But truth be told, though, just to wrap up
Mm-hmm.
my segment of the show, uh, give or take, are you really considering buying
For now,
Switch,
yes,
or
definitely. It's like
what do you think?
almost maybe about 75 or 85% considering definitely buying. Like it's not anytime,
Anytime
maybe
soon,
anytime soon.
or
Like if it's available like somewhere where it's like a little on sale or something, like here's hoping. Yeah. But if it's even if it's not on sale, even if it's not
okay.
on sale, I'll probably consider getting it
75.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because I think for me right now, I guess like the only reason that would want me to buy a Switch would be either
Mm-hmm.
Animal Crossing and actually Stardew Valley. But since
Ah.
Animal Crossing itself didn't have Booster, and like I said, there's that aspect of quickly getting bored of
Mm-hmm.
it, especially also with Stardew Valley,
Okay,
since I already
so
have it on laptop.
I'm googling it right
I
now. I'm
might.
googling like Animal
Hmm?
Crossing and stuff like that. So you're
Yep,
aware that
yep.
because it's on Switch, the Animal Crossing and actually the majority of a lot of the Nintendo games can get updated, right? Yeah, yeah. So I've seen this
Right,
one
right.
from this. I've seen this news article from Polygon. Like it's called Animal Crossing Villagers have started
Yes.
talking about missing features, possible future DLCs.
What?
And there's a yeah, and then there's a Twitter post saying the fact
Oh.
that like Brewster was mentioned. This, this was
Are you
posted
serious?
April 7th, 2020.
Okay, because the thing is, I remember looking at it from somewhere, I think online, not about Brewster, but I read somewhere around the line where like Animal Crossing was planning to have updates every
Yeah.
month
So like
so that it
there's
won't be
possibility of
boring.
them adding like new
But
items, new places, new locations, new characters, or even old characters such as Brewster. Now here's
now
the thing.
that's my
Prior
catch, my
to
guy.
the clip on the Twitter post, data miners, basically people. If you don't know who that is,
Yeah,
data miners are basically people who go through like the metadata of the game. So like they look at codes, they look at the just
right, right.
basically like the ins and outs of the game, right? They look at the game, and apparently there's
Mm-hmm.
a reference in the code. Not sure whether it's an actual solid code or a like a
Right,
comment. Uh, but inside of it, there's a comment
right.
or a reference to the word museum shop. Yeah,
Oh,
is
and the
the
only
is the
museum
cafe.
shop we
Yeah,
know is actually the cafe. But wait, okay, but let's not forget that there might be a possibility it might actually
not
be
the
a
old
museum
cafe.
shop and
Yeah, yeah.
not
But
the
that's the
old
like
cafe. It
here's
might actually be
hoping,
a
right?
new.
Considering your
Yeah,
favoritism towards Brewster.
right, right. Okay, so I so I guess yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, I won't say that that's off the table of
Huh?
me not buying a switch of me of buying a Switch, but I guess for now, considering how the price has increased so much
Switch
for
itself.
not
Yeah,
only
yeah.
Animal Crossing but Switch itself, except for the Lite, which yeah, but I prefer buying the original ones of
Mm-hmm.
Lite. So I think I might just wait it out first. So compared to your need, which no, not your need, sorry, compared to your want for like I
Yeah.
think 75%, was it 75% to 80% of wanting a Switch? I think mine would roughly be around
Okay.
65 to 70 probably. Cause right now I'm not. I mean, like I already got over the hype of Animal Crossing. I mean, like right now I can live without it. But the moment they start saying that the shop is about here, and who knows, someone makes an entrance in the
Uh
game,
huh. Uh huh.
re-entering the game, then maybe I'm sold. Maybe I'm sold. The moment they're like boosters in, I'm like, okay, buy that shit. I'm just spending money.
Okay.
Oh my god. Yeah, I guess that's my take on
Uh huh.
what is on Animal Crossing for this segment. I guess we're going to take a break for a while. I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
just let the recording pause,
Okay.
and then we'll
Cool.
go back on. Okay, okay, so we're back.
Yes.
Welcome back to Retropical. I will never get used to that. Welcome back to Retropical podcast. Now, we've talked a bit about Switch, no, Nintendo. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's I'm stuttering. Okay, we've talked about Nintendo DS, Animal Crossing, Switch. Our whether we want to buy it or not, and we have already given our inputs on it. And now, what is your input for today, Leonard?
Um, but it's a little similar to yours. I'll start off the same
Oh,
way with
okay.
the yeah. I'll start off with the same fact. It has something to do with the Switch.
All right. Today is
Yeah.
an all Switch podcast.
An all Switch podcast today.
Okay. Well,
Uh,
even though we have no Switch, none of us have Switch. Even though none of us have Switch. Okay. Go on.
yeah. So it's something to do with the Switch. So in your case, you were starting off with the fact that like Animal Crossing um made you consider getting a Switch, right?
Right. Yes.
In
Yes.
my case, I've always wanted to get a Switch since for two particular games.
Okay.
Sorry, three particular games specifically. So it was Mario Odyssey,
Okay. Mario Odyssey.
yeah, and then Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Oh, okay. These
Yeah,
are two strong contenders for a
yeah,
game,
these are very
actually.
strong very strong reasons just to get the game.
Right.
To get the Switch.
Both games that I have not played at all, I think. I mean, Mario, I have Paper Mario and Mario,
Oh, Paper
the
Mario is
Game
so
Boy one,
fucking good.
I think. But yeah, okay. Go on, go on. Yes, and
Yeah,
then.
so it's those two games, and then
Mm-hmm.
finally, is the Switch game for the upcoming Harvest Moon game.
Oh wait, what? There's an upcoming Harvest Moon game. Oh my god,
Yeah,
I'm so
so
slow. Wait.
so you're aware of the I'm
Yes.
sure you're aware of Friends of the Mineral Town, right?
Yeah, that was the honestly, I think that's the only Harvest Moon that I actually played and enjoyed. Because the others went to DS and it was 3D, right? So I was a bit like put off by it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
yeah, Friends of Mineral
so you're
Town.
aware of the Friends of Mineral Town the Friends of Mineral Town game of the both the Game Boy and also for the DS, right?
For sure, yeah. That was
Yeah.
that was the first one. Yep, yep, for me.
I'm sorry.
That was the first one, yeah. So I mean that was the only probably the only one that I know of. So yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So before we actually no, I'm just gonna say it now. So there's a new remake of the Friends of Mineral Town game for the Switch.
Oh, okay. A new remake for Switch.
Yes. Unfortunately, like you probably won't like it since they changed it to the 3D. So
Right.
that's like that's one thing that might put you off of it because I'm like you and your apprehension for 3D version of Harvest Moon is very weird to me. But yeah,
Okay.
so that was
Oh,
like so yeah. So those are the three main games. Yeah. So
yeah.
those are the three main games that I really wanted to get.
But okay, when you were okay, going back to Harvest Moon Mineral Town remake,
Mm-hmm.
what does it entail? Is it just is it like basically the same thing that they offered when we played it in GBA and Nintendo DS, except
So
now it's
here's the thing. So I'm not particularly sure. I'll get to that point later. But first of all, I want to
okay.
just say so the remake at least the
Mm-hmm.
recent remake, it's not called like Harvest Moon. It's called Story of Seasons.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, no wonder, because I've been Googling it and the only thing that came out was Harvest Moon Light of Hope, and I was like, I don't think this is the one.
Oh
Okay,
no no
Story
no
of
no no. You I'll get to that later. But first of all, I'm
Okay.
gonna so it's called Story of Seasons. Now I'm not sure whether you're aware of the story of why they're called Story of Seasons now.
You mean Oh wait, I think you may have mentioned it before there a long time ago. A long time ago though. I think something to do with like Natsume developer or
Yeah
like
yeah
something
yeah.
to do something to do with the
Something
licensing issue,
Yeah,
right?
something with the licensing issue. Okay, so I'm gonna
Right.
start off with the main story, like a background
Okay.
regarding all of this, just for you to know, and also just for like people who's watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, like understand
Right.
the context behind the story.
Okay. Okay.
So, um, the main Harvest Moon like series started
Mhm.
with like I think the Game Boy Color or something, or even the GameCube Harvest Moon. It's like really really old, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
back then in Japan, they called the game uh Bokujo Monogatari
Okay.
In Japan, that's what they call it. Well, like pardon
Oh,
my
something story?
pronunciation, but like
Is it
huh?
something story?
Yeah,
Boku
yeah.
no
So
Jo
it's the farm story is what it means translation
Oh, what
directly.
was it called? Sorry.
The farm
Oh, the
story.
farm. Okay, the farm story.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bokujo Monogatari. So that's what it meant in like the main Harvest Moon lineup, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh now pretty much and the thing is that in Japan this game was developed by a company called Marvelous.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's called the Marvelous Inc. or the Marvelous Company.
Okay. Wow.
Now,
Okay, I didn't know.
and now the thing is that this game was mostly exclusive to Japan.
Oh yeah, okay. I
Yeah,
think I remember that one because it was originally all in Japanese, right? That's why they had
yeah, it was all
to
in
do
Japanese. And then a
translate. Yeah.
year after, I think, from the very first game, I'm talking about like the very first Harvest Moon, which is the one released in SNES, like SNES. Okay. A year later, this game was then translated to English and was published by Natsume.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So wait. So Natsume was actually the English publisher.
Yeah. So here's the little confusing thing. So Marvelous, the one with the English name, is a Japanese company.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Natsume, the one that's like written in the Japanese name, is an
Right.
American
Right.
company. Okay.
Right. That might have been a bit confusing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Got
yeah,
it.
that's a little confusing, but yeah, but that's pretty easy to remember. Just remember, the one that has the Japanese name is the American company, and the one that has an English name is the Japanese
It's
company.
the Yep. Yep. Okay.
Now,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Natsume doesn't really have anything to do with the development of the game, but they are they're the one that's responsible for the English distribution of the game. So anything in Europe or America, that's pretty much um
Right.
yeah, the one that's
Right.
responsible for it is Natsume.
You know the pop-up scene, right? Like for Mineral Town Friends, like when you actually play the game in GBA, it's like every time they appear, before even the whole concept of like the hello, welcome to Mineral Town, the introductory scene, there's like Natsume clearly in red. Do you remember that?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, so I always assumed that Natsume was actually the developer, but you're saying that it's not. It's actually
No, no.
Marvelous.
Natsume was primarily responsible for the distribution,
Translation. Translation distribution.
in like any English speaking country, mostly in the States and also in EU.
Oh, okay. So what about translation? Were they the ones also doing that, or
I
did they
think they
have
were the
other?
ones doing the translation as well. Yeah.
Okay, 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 okay.
So that that one is like I think it's like if you remember they always have something called Natsume like serious fun on the bottom or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I just remember the red like yeah, red Natsume. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the thing is
Okay.
that but that's only the one for responsible for the American. Now the thing is that Natsume itself, like the actual company, is founded in Japan, but we're not gonna get into that because that's not
Right.
important for this particular story.
Okay.
So so even though Marvelous was the one that's like primarily the reason for the development of the game, right? Of
Mm-hmm.
Bokujo Monogatari or the
Farm
farming
story.
the farm
Yeah, my
story,
farm.
right? Yeah. Um Natsume, however, is the one that has the responsibility or the one that's like the one that has the rights to the name Harvest Moon.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
can see where this is going. Yeah,
Yep, yep, yep.
okay.
So basically any game that you see with the name Harvest Moon is usually like Natsume has something to do with that.
Okay, that's kind of sad in a way because like the developers don't have the rights to the name Harvest Moon, even though well the game is publicly well known for its name called Harvest Moon, not
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Farm.
pretty much.
Okay.
Now is the thing is that they've had this relationship of like basically like developers and distributors for about like
For
since
a long time.
90 yes for a long time, like since the very beginning I think. So it's from
Yeah,
1996 all the way to like 2000
2000.
2000 I think 2011 I think or 2012. I have to double check.
Yeah,
Let's see here.
makes
I have the
sense.
notes.
I mean,
I have
yeah,
the notes
makes
here.
sense.
Oh, okay. So they had the relationship all the way until like 2013, 2014.
Right.
Yeah. So they've had this relationship for a long time. However, here's where it gets a little like muddy
Yeah. What
relationship.
happened since 2013?
Yeah. So um the thing is that Marvelous, the developer of the game,
Mm-hmm.
eventually had a merging with another company called AQI. I think it's called the AQ Interactive Company.
Okay.
So this merging also created now what's now is like quite a massive company called the Marvelous Incorporated Company or the Marvelous AQL Company.
Okay, the marvelous.
AQL. So it's like and they have like basically hand in like a lot of tiny little things like entertainment, like movies and stuff like that. But the one that we care for is about their gaming division.
Right.
Now, along with this merger, they also bought up another publishing company called Exceed.
Exceed is in Japanese. Is it in Japan? Is it a
No, no, no.
Japanese?
Exceed is in America.
Okay, so basically now they have two publishers,
Yeah, they have
distributors.
another subsidiary called Exceed. Now the thing is that if you think about it, if you
Uh-huh.
were in Marvelous's shoes, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like, okay, so we have been like, let's say I'm Marvelous and you're Natsume. So you have been in a
Yeah.
relationship with me, basically translating my
Yeah, around 20
wonderful
years, 10
yeah
years
for
or so.
like 20 years, like like a freakishly low amount of time. And
Yep,
then
yep.
now I have my own publishing company, Exceed, that's come like directly under me, like my subsidiary.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So wait, yeah, I was
So I'm
actually
not sure why I need you anymore. It's basically what
yeah,
happened.
actually I was going back to ask you like when you mentioned subsidiary the first time, I was thinking that it was a subsidiary to Natsume. As in
No, no,
Natsume
no,
had
no.
like a mini publisher baby company child, but it turns out that this is actually Marvelous AQL's subsidiary.
subsidiary. So they had their own company right under them that can translate their game already, and they don't have to do
Right.
like they don't have to make dealings with Natsume for like whatever reason.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah,
And
and
wait,
so
this is an American company, not a Japanese one.
no, Exceed is an American company, and it's
Oh,
if
okay.
I'm remember correctly, they were also founded by previous Square Enix
Oh
uh
my God. Yeah,
members.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm kind of reading briefly on the Wikipedia on it, even though it's not
yeah,
reliable. But yeah, I'm still. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
so
That's
they
a
used
big hit. That was a big hit, I
so
think,
it's
to
kind of like
Natsume.
as a Harvest Moon fan, it felt almost like a destruction of two marriage. Like the marriage for so long that's been kept
Yeah.
on from the SNES all the way to like the 3DS and stuff, and then now it's
Yeah.
gone.
I guess it's kind of like a big fuck you to Natsume in a way.
Yeah, it's a little fuck you to Natsume. But then here comes the little like weird feeling I have with the game afterward. So because of this separation between the two company,
Right.
Marvelous decided to so they still own the name of Bokujo Monogatari, the farm story, right?
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
they created the another IP, quote unquote, but it's like the same exact game, but in the English version called Story of Seasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so now Story of Season is actually owned by them. The name Story of Season is owned by
Yeah,
them.
Story of Seasons is owned by Exceed, or actually to an extended degree by Marvelous,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Yep, yep, yep.
So you have Story of Seasons and you have Harvest Moon. So after 2015, I guess, because this like Story of Seasons was first released in NA in America, like in I think it was like March, I think, or like April 2015, if I remember
Oh,
correctly.
okay. Yeah, I'm seeing the 3DS Story of Season game. I didn't even know there was a thing.
Yeah, they had a lot of games, and like now unfortunately because like my limited access to some of the 3DS games, I couldn't play these ones because
Right, right.
because I've played basically almost every Harvest Moon game in existence. Like I'm not even kidding. I've played the first one. My very first Harvest Moon game was from the Game Boy Color one, where you
Yeah, yeah,
can
that was
yeah.
the first one that I played, but it was called Mineral of Town Friends. Only that I know of.
Oh wait, Mineral Towns?
Wasn't it the first one? Or
No,
was
no,
it
no, no,
not?
no, no, no. So Mineral Towns is the one like for the Game Boy Advance. This one is for the Game Boy Color.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah,
This
okay,
one is
okay.
this is even older
Yeah,
than
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot it was Game Boy Color. Right, right, right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, shit. All right.
Yes.
So,
So
well,
mhm,
okay, now that I know that it's called Story of Seasons now, technically, if it's under Marvelous, and they're the one developing the game,
mhm.
um, what happens to the Harvest Moon? What happens to Natsume?
So so the thing is that at first when I've heard about the separation, I was kind of a little bit on Natsume's side, right? So because like, oh, they've had such a beautiful relationship these past few
Yeah,
years, and then they broke it off, blah blah blah. I don't know the behind the scene dealings or whatever, and like what's going on, but
yeah.
so after 2015, basically there's since today there's like two 3DS games
Mm-hmm.
for Story of Seasons. So there's Story of Seasons, like the very first one, and Story of Seasons,
Life
Trio of
something.
Towns. I think it's what it's called in
Yeah, I
2016
think I saw that one. Yep, yep,
or
yep.
2017. Yeah, yeah. And so those are the two games that's been released since then. Now there's
Okay.
another Story of Seasons, but I'm not sure whether it's developed by Marvelous or not. And it's the one that involved Doraemon, even though it's kind of weird.
Right, I just saw that the one because like when you told me about Story of Seasons, I searched it up once on Google Story of Seasons Switch, and the one that appeared was Doraemon. So I was like, are we talking about the same thing? Like, am I actually understanding it correctly? Because I see Doraemon and Nobita just sitting around eating watermelon, so that's why I was like, is that the one? Is that
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one you're
yeah,
talking
yeah. That's
about?
the one. That one. I think that's the only Story of Season game or the Bokujo Monogatari. I'm talking about that one. So
Right.
I think this is the first Bokujo Monogatari game that's available to the PC,
Oh,
to the
okay,
computer, because
okay.
this is sold in Steam as well. And here's the thing. So before all this, before before the release of any of the new Story of Seasons game, this is the first time we've ever seen a Bokujo Monogatari series on a PC before. Like, this is the very first time we've seen something like a release on a computer, right?
Right.
Now,
Yes.
so that's on the Marvelous side of the story. Now, on the Natsume side, they've released a few Harvest Moon games since the separation as well, right?
Wait, but is that legal though? Like, I mean, is it possible?
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
fine. It's fine because they own the name Harvest Moon, so they can do whatever they want technically.
no. I mean, they use the name Harvest Moon, but the game itself is it was still this. It's still the same. Boku no Monogatari, right or not?
In where?
The one for Natsume.
No. They just call it Harvest Moon. It has nothing to do with Bokujo Monogatari. It's never released in America, technically. In outside of America, sorry.
Right, but I mean the game called Harvest Moon,
Mm-hmm.
the mechanism, the gameplay, isn't
Mm-hmm.
it like the same as the developer of Marvelous, or is it a whole different?
It's basically the same technically. It's still like the farming thing that you've known and loved, where you hoe, you plant seeds, and then you water them.
Exactly. And
It
isn't
has
that
it has that classical gameplay, you know.
isn't
But
that an issue or not?
apparently, no. I haven't seen any issues since then. I'm pretty sure it's like some backstabbing. But here's the thing where I found this is the thing I found hilarious. So since the separation,
Right.
what do you call it? They've made a few games since then. So I know Harvest Moon released games like The Lost Valley, which
Yes.
was the very first game they developed without Marvelous, and this was on the 3DS as well.
Okay. I think I might have heard about that before.
Yeah,
Yes.
Harvest Moon, The Lost Valley. And then
Yep.
there's also Seed of Memories. I'll get back to that later. This is it's something important happened here. I'm just gonna come back to that later. And then there's
Was
Sky
that
Tree.
the?
Hmm?
Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. No. No. Go on. Go on.
Yeah, so there's Seed of Memories, and then there's Sky Tree Village, also for the Nintendo 3DS.
Okay. Skytree Village. Okay.
And
There's a lot.
then the very first technically the very first Harvest Moon game we've ever seen on the PC or the computer, Light of Hope.
Okay, I saw a lot of that one. Yep.
Yep. So you see a lot of hope, and then there's a new game called the Mad Dash. But I'm not gonna mention that because I've literally have no idea what that's all about. Now, if you notice the release date of Story of Seasons, the Doraemon one.
Yeah, that's the PC one, right?
Yeah, this is the PC one, and also Light
Okay.
of Hope. So Light of Hope was released in 2017, which meanwhile the new Story of Seasons one came at like I think 2019 or something, June, like last year. June or
Oh,
July
okay.
last year. I can't remember exactly because that's
Okay,
the first
so
time I
so
saw it.
basically, Harvest Moon went first, right? Because it's 2017, right?
Yes, the Harvest Moon came in first. Now the thing is that when it first came out, a lot of fans, especially because the thing is that Harvest Moon don't really have what I consider a very dedicated fan base,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah, there's not much like fandom to it as much. I mean, if you see Animal Crossing, like there's actually dedicated fans, but Harvest
Yeah,
Moon,
that's what I'm like. A lot of
yeah,
people are like really looking forward to Animal Crossing, but like Harvest Moon is something that most people look at casually,
yeah,
right?
I can see
And
that for sure. Yeah.
I bet like a lot of the listeners today will probably like listen to it and will listen to my story and like, wow, there's like a story like that behind Harvest Moon or something like
Bruh,
that.
I
But
didn't even know there was more than Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town. I mean, there were others. I know about the one about the heaven dying and then you can meet someone in heaven or something like that.
oh, that's Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life. That's the one in PS2.
Right, right. I didn't know about the others. Like, I didn't know about Skytree Village and all that. I thought like there was only like 2 or 3 Harvest Moon games in existence. I didn't even know about what story of my farm
Story of
life.
Seasons. Story of Seasons.
Yeah, my farm
Yeah.
life story. Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah. So now you as a fan will probably see that as hear about that and it's like, oh wow, that's like this insane story and whatnot, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people was a little blindsided with two of the first games released by Natsume, which was The Lost Valley and Seed of Memories.
Oh, like they didn't know that it was released.
No, they knew it was released, but they didn't know that it was not developed by the original company, Marvelous.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
if you play the game,
It's different, is
it
it?
it shows.
Oh,
It shows pretty heavily that like Natsume is not. Sorry, like Marvelous, the original one, was not responsible for the game whatsoever.
yeah. They don't have the touch that Marvel has had for the
Yeah,
previous.
yeah. Like, I mean, the farming thing is there, right?
Right.
Your classical Harvest Moon, like, oh, I'm gonna like dig a hole in the ground, put seeds in it, and then water it. You know that kind of gameplay. It's still around, but
Mm,
but you could definitely feel something is like very off about the game,
mm,
if that
mhm.
makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know because I have never played it before, but
Mhm.
I think is it because the old characters are no longer there, or is it just because of the gameplay? It's just
I
a
think
bit
it's just
different, or no
overall,
plot?
like overall, I think uh when I first saw it, I didn't even know it was developed by Marvelous either. Believe it or not, when I first found out about this, I was like, because I only started searching about what do you call it? Uh, when I first heard about this when I was looking at another. It's like it's not it's technically Harvest Moon, but I'm sure I've told you about this before. It's called Rune Factory.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
That was one. Yep.
I started searching about the story once I was looking back into like Rune Factory and everything.
Mhm.
And the thing is that when they first came up with the Lost Valley, although it was like very very similar, there was like there was a lot of like confusion around the game because a lot of people thought that like, oh, this was not made by the original developers, and so
Yep,
they
yep.
felt
I mean,
quite blindsided by this. And then, right, and then
mhm.
here's the thing, because I personally, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, that's kind of like a little trashy. The fact that like you use the previous game's credits for your own new game, you know.
Exactly, but like I was thinking, do the fans or the people who follow or people who play this franchise were they aware of the the legal fights or the divorce
I think
process between
majority of people probably won't know, if I had to guess.
exactly. So they probably assume that, oh, this was actually the original, like with parents, like you having your parents, this is the gift that both my parents
Yeah,
made,
yeah.
but then they found out like, no, it's only dad who made it,
They
mom
only
was
dad who
making
made
her
it.
own shit, man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it tastes different, you know, and so on and so forth. Now the
Right,
thing is
okay.
that yeah, when I first heard about the story, I actually didn't mind.
Okay,
I
so
didn't
you
mind
tried.
yeah, because I didn't thought because when I first thought about this, I was like, okay, they're separated, fine. But now there's like in my head, I was like, oh, but now there's like two more Harvest Moon type game that I can play.
Oh, okay, so you were being a greedy kid. You were like, okay, I
I
get
was like,
two
I
of the
wasn't just
better
greedy, but okay, like yeah, fine. It's like it sounded like I'm greedy,
insert
but it's more
animal.
like,
Yeah,
oh, there's like competition, you know. There's actually
yeah,
like a larger market for this. Now they can compete with each other, you know. Oh, like which one is better,
right,
Story of Seasons or Harvest Moon, like blah blah
right,
blah. You know, like, back and forth. I see all this as like a plus thing, until
right.
until uh until the game right after the Harvest Moon, the Lost Valley, the one that released by Natsume, uh,
Uh-uh.
called the Seed of Memories.
Yeah, that was
So
good, right? I heard it was really good, or not?
uh
No?
the
Okay.
Seed of Memories the Seed of Memories was first of all not a 3DS game.
Right.
It was a mobile game.
Okay. I'm not even like a huge game kaya follower or some sort, but when you say mobile game, I'm a little bit like,
Uh
okay.
and the thing is that they sold it for, I think, like it was a paid bot game as well, right? So it's like about maybe $10 to $15.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's like when I actually bought the game as well. Like when I
Okay.
first yeah, when I first saw Seed of Memories, I actually bought the game. And it's really not up to par when you compare it to something like Story of Seasons, right?
Okay. Yep, yep. And you've played Story of Seasons as well, right? The
And No,
The
I haven't
Doraemon.
played Story of Seasons. Oh, the Doraemon one, yes, but not the original one that they released for the 3DS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And like, and I'm talking about in almost every aspect when it comes to the mobile game. So it felt
Mm-hmm.
it felt weird. Imagine like that feeling of like, oh, you're seeing something familiar, but at the same time you felt like
Yeah.
it's not the same thing.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. Yep.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of things that felt unpolished in the game, if that makes any sense.
The Harvest Moon.
The Seed of Memories, the mobile
Right.
one. There's a lot of things like so. Kind of if you're trying to convert, let's say, a game from like a DS to a mobile, there should be a lot of things that you have to tinker around, right?
Yep. Yep.
Uh, but like but the thing is that in the mobile game, there's a lot of things that just felt like, oh, this you can make a lot of mistake with the controls and stuff like that. And also, once you farm something, there doesn't seem to be any more that's like to continue on forward. There's only a few fishing spots and stuff like that. So it's like
Oh,
it's
okay.
it has that same Harvest Moon feel. So it's like it's as wide as the ocean kind of feel, but very shallow.
Okay. I get what you're saying. I think I get what you're saying. It's just I think you were disappointed in how little care was put into how it could have been. Something like that, right?
Yeah. And then the very next year after that game,
Story of Season
actually
came
not
out.
even a year, like after Seed of Memories.
What happened?
There was another game called Sky Tree Village, but I didn't really pay attention to that game because
Right.
I didn't have I didn't really have access to it back then. But then Light of Hope came out, which is the very first PC Harvest Moon game that we got.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
And
so it
that
was
was
the
what did that redeemed your disappointment in Harvest Moon?
no.
Not
If
finishing
anything, it
Harvest.
made it worse.
Are you serious? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you because there's a lot of things to consider. So PC, for example, PCs has a lot more processing power. There's a lot of things that you can do with a PC game, right?
Right.
And so I was expecting when I first heard about it, I was expecting first of all more content.
Oh,
Yeah, so I
yeah,
was
yeah.
considering more content, more characters, like better animations or better graphics. And I didn't care how long it took, as long as the game is good.
And this was 2017.
And this was 2017. And
Oh,
if
okay.
you look at the release date, they only had like a few months to develop this game
Right, right.
from Sky Tree Village from Nintendo DS. Because the Sky Tree Village was released in June, I think. The earliest release was June 2017 or 2016. I can't remember, but it's like somewhere around that time. And then Light of Hope was released on a few months after the 2017 release.
Okay. But the PS3 one, the one you said, what was it called? Seed of Memories, was it?
Seed of
Eh?
Memories. Yeah, that's the mobile one. Seed of
Right.
Memories.
The one that was in PS4?
No, the mobile one.
Oh, no, but just now you said something about PS4, right? Before
PS.
3 months. Before Light of Hope. What was it? 3 months before Light of
Oh,
Hope.
Sky Tree Village, and that was
Right,
also
right,
in the DS. That's in the DS as well.
right.
3DS.
And was that disappointing to you?
I didn't play that one, so I couldn't tell. I can't tell.
Oh, okay.
But the development time they had for this was like
3 months.
I would consider short, considering a game for a PC.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't like it was pretty disappointing. Cause I could play like in my head constantly I was thinking I could have just played this on a DS, and it wouldn't make a difference.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Meanwhile,
mhm.
I played the Store Seasons, the Doraemon one.
The one that came out last year, 2019, right?
Yeah, and it was a world of difference. It was a huge difference.
Okay, just for the sake of me understanding what made it different, like
Hmm.
what are some, I mean, like at least one or two key pointers that you thought was like a world difference. What made it so different? Was it because of the storyline, the plot, or right?
Okay, so first of all, is at least for the Doraemon one, is probably art. It's probably the most interesting looking
Yeah, I can see
game
that.
compared to any of the Harvest Moon games that we've played so far, because it's using the Doraemon art style, right?
Right, right.
So that's one. And two, since you're playing as Nobita, right?
Yep.
Since you're playing as Nobita, then like you know that in like every Harvest Moon games, there's like the Bachelor and Bachelorettes.
Yes.
We don't have that here.
Okay.
You just make relationship with friends, but there's still events and so on and so forth, as
Right.
usual.
And that was a plus for you because it was a new
And
experience,
that
or
in itself, just that little touch was very interesting because they basically took away a feature, technically, right? They took away the marriage feature of the game.
right? Yeah.
But
Actually that was what I was gonna say. Like, if I was you, if I was in that situation, I'd be a bit disappointed because I was always into the marriage aspect of it. But you were actually amazed by how they recalled that back and put in the friendship more base.
because like it's so interesting to me.
Yeah, like it's different. I mean,
It,
it's
it
the
was
same, but it's different, right?
it
In a
was
good
such a
way.
different, it felt like a different game, but in a good way, if that makes any sense.
Yep,
Like
yep.
if like if like Harvest Moon game that you kept playing over and over and over and over and nothing new comes out, you felt like boring, right? You felt like bored
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the game. But
yeah.
they
I
did
think
so many things with this game that's like pretty cool. So for example, art, like they changed like the theme art of the like DS games so much, I think.
yeah, I can definitely see the art differences here.
Yeah, they use like almost like this like watercolory palette type of,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was about to say that. Yep, yep.
And like in my opinion, the only bad thing is probably again like similar to a lot of the Harvest Moon games that we've seen so far is like the one that transitioned to PC at least, like is controls and UI is probably my only complaint.
Oh.
Because yeah, because in similar to Light of Hope, the very first Harvest Moon, that's one in the PC.
Mhm,
That one has like some like quite clunky controls, right? And even in
mhm.
Stardew Valley, if we want to like mention that game as well, Stardew Valley's control was probably the most intuitive, but still it was a little bit clunky, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. So that one is like that's probably my own complaint, but it's fine, you know.
Ah, I see.
The Star of Seasons wasn't a perfect game by any means. Like the Doraemon one, at least.
Mhm, mhm.
It wasn't a perfect game, but it was a game that really made me say, "Oh, they tried. You know, they worked hard in this game."
It made you appreciate Marvelous.
Yeah, it made me appreciate Marvelous so much because not only were they daring enough to like take away some shit and like put them in,
Yeah.
but they were also willing to like uh what do you call it, like to do something weird and daring to their series,
Right. So
which
the
made me,
shallow. Mhm.
yeah.
Sorry.
I mean the game, to be honest, to be fair a little bit, yeah, it is still shallow compared
Oh, really?
to, huh,
Really?
a little bit, but not as bad
Oh.
as Light of Hope.
Yeah, because I was about to say, like, the shallow that you felt in Light of Hope, was it like kind of in a way uh given or deepened by Doraemon's story of season? Was that why you appreciated it much more than, uh Light of Hope?
uh yeah, probably because it like I said, when I saw the like the art style changes difference and then the mechanic difference as well, right? Some of the
Mhm,
like gaming mechanics difference,
mhm.
it seemed to me like they actually worked hard in this game, you know.
Oh, I see.
It's like I don't care if the game was bad. Oh, I mean, I care a bit, but like when I care more with the fact that like they tried something interesting with the game
Right.
and it worked out. Meanwhile, with Light of Hope, they changed the story, but it's basically like the same MacGuffin type of game that's like if you want to compare to Friends of Mineral Town, because in Friends of Mineral Town, your quest was to find the sprites, right?
I don't even remember, dude. All I remember was just I wanted to marry people, man. That was my whole that was my whole
Yeah.
drive of playing Harvest Moon. I wanted to marry those girls. I wanted to and when the girl version came out, I wanted to marry those men.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
that
okay,
was
okay, okay. Even then, like if that wasn't the main, because like even if like marriage was your main target, even like let's say we ignore marriage altogether and just look at like
Right, right,
the core gameplay and what they ask you to do, like the
right,
game story. So in Light of
right.
Hope, the mission was to collect these like disc so you could repair the lighthouse or something.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I can barely remember it like already. It's like and I've only played this game like what a few months ago or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So the
It was
mission was
that
to
bad.
collect. The mission was to just collect. Well, I wouldn't even call it a mission. It's just something that you have to remember in the back of your mind, just to collect these discs, right?
Uh-huh.
And you collect this disc based on like doing certain activities, basically. Similar to the DS version of Harvest Moon and also the Game Boy version, where you have to collect sprites instead by doing certain things
Oh, so it was yeah, like I think that was the
to
point of
save the
why
goddess, right? Yeah, to save the goddess.
I think that's what I guess how I understand how you meant by shallow. Because I think to me, if that was the only purpose of the only objective of those Harvest Moon franchise games, I wouldn't have been interested. And maybe that's why I never really played. Apart from the fact that they were 3D, I think maybe that's why I wasn't as interested as I was when it was with Friends of Mineral Town.
Ah, okay.
But aside from the marriage aspect itself, would you think that if I were to play Doraemon Story of Season, I would enjoy it? Because my driving force was the whole marriage thing, right? Like going after them.
Um. Okay. So like, if marriage was like your main target, then maybe not.
Oh, okay. But in
Yeah,
terms of like lores, maybe like friendship lore, story
like the
lores,
story, the
interaction.
little like, if you want that like almost Stardew Valley ish,
Yep.
like relationships, then I
Yep.
might consider it. But the only problem I have with the game is probably the price.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
expensive on Steam.
it, on Steam at least, it's quite expensive
Oh.
for what you get out of it.
Oh, okay. I might consider it once my laptop is fixed. Maybe. Maybe.
Because
Maybe.
it's just so much more appealing to play that game than Light of Hope, at least. Because
So
I haven't completed Light of Hope, you know.
right, right. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I don't think you want to.
and
From
I'm
the
not sure
sound of
whether I
it.
want to complete it because it was like a chore. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I guess that's what makes it kind of different. Like if it's shallow, it feels as if it's like such a chore and you're not really enjoying it. But then Doraemon Story of Season was like a whole different aspect. So if I were to get it correctly, was
Mm-hmm.
Doraemon Story of Season the first Story of Season installment that you played under Marvelous?
Yes,
Was
it's
is
probably
that
the only.
correct?
Yeah, 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 it is.
Oh, okay. And that's why now you're interested in Story of Season Switch
Yeah, the
because of
story
this.
of season switch. So like first of all, I want to see what they're gonna do with the because they're gonna remake that Friends of Mineral Town game, right?
Right. Yeah, that's like when you said that that was the one that made me like, "Whoa, what? Friends from Mineral Town is coming back."
Yeah, they're gonna renew that game, and then
Mhm.
there's one more game that basically like I'm not sure whether it's actually going to be released this year or not.
Mhm.
But I told you about Rune Factory, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was the
Yeah,
thing that you like so much.
that's
I think you said
out
more
of
than
like
Harvest Moon.
okay, like out of all the Harvest Moon games,
Yeah.
even though Rune Factory is like something that people don't mention, it's probably my favorite like Harvest Moon games, like style games.
I mean, I was
Because
looking at it. Look at the pictures. It does look interesting. But I think when I was a kid, I actually had like a knockoff Rune Factory game that was plugged in my PSP,
I
and
see, I
so my
see.
impression of it was like, it's so clunky. I don't like it. Gitu.
Could be, could be. Okay, that's
But
interesting.
yeah, but from the looks of it, it does look more fantasy based. Yeah, it's like a
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
fantasy based Harvest Moon.
And in my opinion, story is much better in the Rune Factory games compared to the Harvest Moon games.
Well, I think maybe because of the fantasy thing, they had more ideas to play with. I guess like I see
Maybe.
dragons in the
Oh,
images.
but to
There.
be fair, oh wait. But here's the thing, though. I forgot to mention to you. Um, the Rune Factory games are actually developed by different people. They're not
But
made by
wait,
Marvelous
what?
either.
Oh, okay. No, is
Yeah,
this
yeah.
another divorce story
No,
that's
no, no,
gonna
no,
come
no,
to
no,
life?
no.
Okay.
But there's like a little sad bit about it. So Rune Factory games were made by the company Neverland.
Right.
Right. So this is like a short TLDR. I'm not gonna be too long. But they made Room Factory 1, Room Factory 2, 3, and then finally 4 on the 3DS and the
Yep.
Switch. Right?
Yep.
But then they went bankrupt in
Who went bankrupt?
Neverland.
Oh, okay, okay. Not
Neverland
not
went
not
bankrupt
Marvelous.
after finishing Rune Factory 4. And that was like the
Okay.
most depressing day of my life when I found out about that. And it was probably the primary reason why I went into the deep dive of like Harvest Moon to begin with.
Oh, because you wanted to know like the
Yeah, I
branches.
wanted to know whether the members of of like Neverland, like the developers, went somewhere, you
Yep,
know,
yep.
and like
Okay.
here's me hoping that they're gonna make either a successor of Rune Factory or the actual Rune Factory game itself.
So
And
what did you
then
find?
recently, I found out that
Right?
Neverland, the company, was
Is it
acquired
back?
by a certain company. Guess which
Who?
company that is?
Is it just a shot in dark? Is it Marvelous or Exceed?
Yep, it's marvelous. They acquired Neverland, and then I heard stories about Rune Factory 5 coming out in the Switch this particular year, but I'm not sure whether that's true or not.
Oh, okay. So, but okay, just so I can summarize it fully in terms of the Rune Factory timeline.
Mm-hmm.
First, it was developed by Marvelous, right? But it wasn't developed fully by Marvelous. They actually had like different contributors, is what you're saying.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
The
one of them was Neverland.
yes. So actually no, actually never. I think Neverland was the primary one. Sorry.
Okay, I mean, that means it kind of makes sense for Marvelous to have taken over Neverland in the financial dire they were in, right?
Yeah, but still, I was like, when I saw that, I was like,
So, like,
there's
yeah,
there's hope.
mommy has decided to bring back the orphan.
Yeah, like my uncle was in a poor spot, and
Right.
mommy decided to help him out, and now
Yeah. Well,
he's.
daddy is producing shallow. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. And that's why so I guess in total you have 5 games that is making you want to buy the Switch.
Oh yeah, technically, but again, at first it was just the Mario, and that's what I meant in the beginning of this podcast, right? So
Right,
I
right.
was thinking of getting just Legend of Zelda and also Mario Odyssey.
Mm.
But even with those two games in the back of my mind, I didn't think the Switch was worth a purchase just for those two
Mhm.
games alone. Until
Until
until freaking Harvest Moon decided to like drag my fucking neck and like, hey, look at this. You want this shit?
well,
Buy
technically
the
not
Switch.
Harvest Moon. Technically
Oh
Story
yeah,
of
technically it's
Seasons.
Bokujo Monogatari, right? Yeah, Story of Seasons. Yeah, that's true.
Ah, okay. And Rune Factory is under them too, so it's like you get double the joy actually,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So when will they be out? Like, is this still a rumor phase going on, or has it already been out, or will it be released?
Sorry, you were cut off
Like,
there.
for Story of Season and Rune Factory, have they been released already, or are they being planned, or is it still like
So
an
Story of
idea thing?
Seasons is the 100% release. In fact, I think it's already released in Japan already. The
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the remake. Sorry, the
Oh,
yeah. I'm at least mostly confident that the Friends of Mineral Town game, I think, has been released in Japan.
oh my God! Yeah, I think I see it. I see it. I
I think
see
since last year,
supposedly.
actually, if I think about it.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
think I saw it. I think this was the one you were talking about, right?
Yeah, this is the one I
Oh, okay.
mentioned to you about, and now it's there. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a North American release or an EU release for that matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But you're waiting.
but
You're waiting for it.
yeah, now the thing is that the majority, I've heard that there is release already coming in July, I think.
This July for the North America and
No, no,
EU.
no, for like the PAL, which is PAL region, the Phase Alternating Life um region, which covers the majority of like China, India, Asia, Australia, so on and so forth.
Oh wait, really? So
Mm.
that means, but it's not Exceed then who's actually translating it.
I think it is Exceed, maybe I don't know,
How
but
can they be releasing it in PAL and? First
I
and
don't
not
know.
any. So weird.
I
Okay.
just know the game is coming out in like the PAL region like very soon. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess your reason of getting a Switch is way more in depth than my reason, which is just a shallow
Just
reason of
yeah,
I want to play
just
Animal
on Animal
Crossing,
Crossing. Yeah,
meeting Brewster again.
Boosting
Um,
Booster again.
yeah, but I guess like since we're also kind of at the end of our podcast in a way
Mm-hmm.
for our first episode,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
as a summary, I guess we'll just summarize what we've been talking about, like key takeaways.
So key takeaways is like basically the takeaways are actually a little bit of a question as well. It's like is Animal Crossing worth getting a Switch for? You know,
Right. That's what
and
my key takeaway is. Animal Crossing really worth buying a Switch solely just
and
for
then
that.
and another key takeaway is probably just the story of Harvest Moon and Story of
Right.
Seasons. Yeah, like
Story
basically the
of
basic
divorce.
history, what
Right.
you guys should consider if you're ever considering coming back to um the Harvest Moon scene again or
Mm,
something like that.
okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think to answer that, I guess, uh, I would say that right now, like I said, I'm still not considering yet buying it until maybe in the future, next to come. If
Mm-hmm.
I, if there's maybe another game that I'm really interested in, or if the price has lowered quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For you, maybe it's when when Harvest Moon comes out, you might really want to buy Switch. But
Actually,
sorry,
like
not Harvest Moon,
even
Story of
the thing
Seasons.
is that for me, even if Harvest Moon gets released, like the Story of
Yes.
Seasons, sorry, not Harvest Moon, Story of
Yeah,
Seasons.
yeah, Story of Seasons.
You have to talk about that. Yeah, sorry. If I remember Story of Seasons, um, I wouldn't even then I wouldn't 100% get it
No.
Until Rune Factory, because Rune, believe it or not, Rune Factory is like probably the one thing that like
Oh, okay. Yeah,
makes
yeah.
me want to
So
get it. Yeah.
so your threshold is like my threshold is as shallow as Animal Crossing, but yours is Rune Factory. Like for sure, if it's Rune Factory, you'd get
If
it. For
Rune
me,
Factory
yeah.
2020 release is correct,
Hmm.
I'm probably getting a Switch. Like,
Okay, then maybe for me to be on par with you is when they decide to bring Brewster out into the open and establish that freaking cafe shop near the museum or in the museum. I might
okay.
guess. But yeah, okay. I guess that's kind of a good start and ending of our first podcast of Retropical.
Mhm.
I finally got the name right. I
Okay.
guess we'll see each other again next week.
Yep.
Thank you for this knowledgeable podcast of Harvest Moon history. I did not know they had so much drama going on. It's like a divorce all over again. But yep, okay. I'll see you next week.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.